In a widely publicized ceremony, His Imperial Majesty Tsar Vladimir III has welcomed Amanullah Khan, the Emir of Afghanistan, and His Exalted Highness Osman Ali Khan of the Indian Federation in Moscow to formally welcome the states as the newest members of the Moscow Accord. While the bureaucratic paperwork of preparing the treaties of accession had already been completed beforehand, the formal recognition created a moment of great prestige for the war-torn countries, both of which still have unresolved territorial disputes in the Balochistan and Peshawar regions. The Tsar has publicly reassured the members of the Moscow Accord that the Russian Empire has no colonial ambitions and firmly supports the self-determination of the peoples of Afghanistan and the Indian Federation without the influence of great powers. Russia offers military protection and economic cooperation to work together towards a future of mutual benefit. Those reassurances were received with cautiously hopeful sentiment across the former Egyptian territories, which are currently under Persian occupation after a decisive Russian military intervention. And with that expansion across the Middle East into Africa and into the Indian subcontinent, the Moscow Accord is probably one of the largest and most powerful military alliances at this point, although the Reichspakt obviously, despite its limited territorial integrity, has a significant amount of firepower, as we are currently seeing at the borders, where we are getting attacked along the lines. That is to say, not all Reichspakt troops are on the front lines in Russia. Most of them, or at least maybe half of them, are still deployed against Spain and Italy. So once these two states are falling, and it looks like both of them are not going to be holding for... Italy might hold for a while if they can retreat towards the mountainous provinces in the center and sort of hold Rome and then the line north towards Ancona. That has proven to be rather resilient. But I believe Spain might be on the chopping block. And then it becomes a very different ball game when we start seeing the rest of the German divisions coming onto the front lines, on top of the 15 tank divisions that we already have to deal with. Talking about which, we have a reasonable amount of fortifications along the lines now, but we're still a little bit short on troops, especially the position here south of Dvinsk is going to be in need of additional infantry. We've got two anti-tank divisions here, so let's bring 2 more infantry divisions there, and this one can move here. And we are sending 1 additional infantry division to Kaunas, which is under heavy attack across the lines. And the anti-tank divisions are the only ones that actually have a chance to deal some damage to the older tanks when present. But the modern German tanks, despite the fact that they can't actually do an awful lot, and yes, the forts are relatively heavily damaged as well at this point, and we are still trying to improve their fortification levels as well once the assault stops. So holding Kaunas is becoming a critical part. That's why the railway guns are positioned here. And it is still winter, but it is going to be spring soon. So we will see. We're currently engaging a smaller German force over Belarus, whereas in the Baltic states we do not necessarily have an option to challenge the German Air Force. One of the biggest problems we have is Riga. Retaking Riga would be relatively essential. For that we are waiting for the mountain divisions. However, they might not actually be the best suited. So let's have a quick look and see who would be best suited towards urban combat. Now, they are bringing a fair amount of firepower. What they're lacking, however, is flame tanks. So they have some good. They however have some good some good attack bonuses against fortifications, and I don't think they have anything specifically for urban. No, so they do have some relatively decent attack bonuses against fortifications. So that's a, what was that, plus where are we, 4 here, plus 54%. Whereas if we look at the guards divisions, which are having heavy flame tanks, and we're going against fortifications, that is plus 78%. So they would actually be potentially more suited. I want to get the guards divisions want to have the guards divisions provided with additional firepower anyway, because a single artillery piece is not going to be enough. So I'm thinking of creating, because we are facing mostly infantry here, I'm looking at creating a specialized urban combat sort of stormtrooper division. Let's have a look at what I can come up with that would maximize the firepower against fortified urban territory. Nope, technically the guards divisions actually are already the best suited towards it. The best way to go about it would be strategic bombing and just destroy the forts from the air, which we can't do because the Germans have aerial superiority in the area. We already have the flame tanks, which are giving additional attack bonuses on force. We have a research, where was it? This one, the advanced flamethrower that we can do that gives us additional 5% in urban and fortified areas. So that would be something. And the support artillery is giving 20% attack bonus against fortifications, and so does the 30% comes from the engineer company. The rest comes from line artillery. So we could add a few more line artillery battalions, and then I think that is pretty much matching up with my usual stormtrooper division that I'm using for these kind of things. They do have a bit of hardness. So right now, what I could do for this, if we're going back to here, so instead of using line artillery, we could use the heavy self-propelled. But that actually has a detriment against fortifications. So we were actually losing attack against fortifications. We would, however, gain some hardness and some armor from these. So that would be, and I don't think any of the self-propelled, none of the self-propelled is particularly good against fortifications. So same goes for the tank destroyer divisions. So it'd be a trade-off. We would lose some bonus in the attack, and we would gain some hardness to withstand and some breakthrough, especially to withstand things as well. Tank divisions, if they weren't so bad in urban environments, would actually be relatively good against fortifications. The other problem there is that our light tank divisions do not have the flame tanks with them, because the flame tanks are heavy tanks, and that would make them slower. Also, the light tank divisions are. Why are the light tank divisions having a max speed of 6.8? Are we bringing old tanks in? Yes, we are. So we do not want to have old equipment in there if we can avoid it, because that means we're getting some of the older tanks, which are having a max speed of 6 point something, and the BT7As, actually the BT7As only do 6.8 kilometers as well. So okay, now that's fine then. we can leave the old ones in because none of that is okay. These things are slow, so let's exclude the interwars. But BT7As are not the fastest out there. I think we have up-armored them a bit. So I currently don't have any army experience, so we can't create that yet. We would need, if we were to design such a division, I would generally be thinking of just sort of adding, going up to 4 artillery. 17 armor isn't great from the heavy flame tanks. But it would give us an 84% attack bonus against fortifications, because I think that scales that scales with the support companies as well. So that'd be a 30 width. Urban environment is a 70, so actually we would need 35. So we could do something like if we were to add 4 artillery, and then a few more infantry divisions. That would get us to 34, still with the 47 org, or we could trade one for. We could add one heavy self-propelled. That would get the armor of the division up to 67, and basically mean that I think that would. So that's 33. That's actually. I'd say 35, so we could add one more infantry. There we go. So something like this, 45 XP. That has an incredible amount of soft attack. We would have an 83% attack bonus against fortifications, and we'd have a total armor of 66 from the self-propelled artillery. And I think that would be a storm division with flame tanks and self-propelled artillery. That plus the regular line artillery that does give the attack bonuses against fortifications, whereas this one actually reduces it. That would be a significant. That would be what we would want. How about urban on the self-propelled? Yeah, it actually reduces on urban as well. So we don't want to put too many of them in, but putting one in would give us additional. Would give us also significantly more breakthrough, so defense on the attack, and with an overall org of 43, but with enough armor that I don't think they're going to be easy to deal with. So that's the target of specialized urban stormtrooper divisions against fortifications. There used to be some special support companies, but I don't think we haven't seen them yet. I think there was the decision at some point that would have allowed for special support companies, but I can't remember if these had any specific bonuses against fortifications. Obviously, the regular engineers are giving additional bonuses as well, so just getting Engineer Company 3 would boost that along the lines too. Air would be good to reduce the Riga fortifications, but I think once we reach 45 Army XP, then we will see if we can get a few of those divisions equipped. Problem here being that the self-propelled artillery is obviously going into the tank divisions, and they are still they're reasonably well equipped actually, and we are producing the RV2A heavy self-propelled artillery at two per day. So I think they'll be equipped relatively soon, and then we'll have some excess that we can use for the stormtrooper divisions for urban fortified attack. In the meantime, we're getting back to everything, and we are waiting for the mountain divisions, which I think we'll put there for. I might actually end up not putting them there after reviewing this. I think we'll not have them there, but instead we will bring them in where the front lines are potentially a bit weak. Especially, I'm a bit concerned about the gap here. Like, this is a little under-equipped. So I will probably bring them in here just to support Bialystok, just to support the lines here in the defense, because they are these forests here are a little bit understaffed, and if the Germans under Guderian is leading again. So if Guderian decides that he is not getting through towards Kaunas, this looks like a potential area where we could see additional attacks, whereas the other ends of along the lines here are a little bit better defended, and I think this is a little overdone. So let's bring one more division over. This is a little bit better defended along the lines here, but overall we've got a large number of troops on the front. Next up, we have a decision waiting for us. Which one is that? We can invite the Indians to the Moscow Economic Council. Yes, please. That is absolutely what we'll do, because we did promise India economic development. Now, I don't know how much in terms of divisions and equipment India has. I can see that now because of because they are a member. So we're looking at they've got 54 divisions, which is not an awful lot. It's basically 2 field armies of regular infantry, and I don't think I can see their templates, but yeah, it's regular. It says there 9 infantry, 1 artillery, and support AA engineer logistics. That's not bad, but yeah, they are obviously deployed as well at the moment. So I'm not sure what their logistics are looking like. They should have a fair amount of equipment left over. So we might actually try to ask them for equipment again. I have asked before, but they apparently said they didn't have any. Maybe now after things have been signed, that gets better. Next up, war economy. So we have 100. I didn't pay attention last episode. I thought I still had 150 earmarked, but I forgot the staff guard. We actually have. We can actually go up to. War economy already. And actually, just to make sure, that is giving us 10% military factory construction speed, 5% consumer goods, and 10% fuel gain. The rest is not really important because we're not really converting factories. Because I do need the civilian economy. I have built that up for a reason. We've got 155 civilian factories at this point, because I do want to maintain a fair amount of construction, because we have a lot of fortification to go through before we can even get back to the regular factories. Somebody in the comments said we can pull some factories off trucks, and I believe they're not wrong there. The reason I do like to have a bit of what's our stockpile in trucks right now? Where we got 3,000. It's not. We will have to look at the. So we've got 3,000 excess. We've got 4,000 currently required, and I'm not really planning to use. We're using trucks in the light tank divisions, but outside of that, I'm not planning to use them very much. So I do like to have a bit of a buffer. At least I generally like to have at least 2,000 trucks in stockpiles because of bombing. So if the Germans will begin strategic bombing in earnest and we cannot contest them in the air, then our losses, what are we currently losing? 55 to attrition and 6 to bombing, which is very little, but that can escalate quickly. And trucks are required for logistics. Without trucks, we can't hold the front lines because all of these need to be need full motorized supply. So it's important that we have enough trucks in store to make things happen. So, but that said, with 2,800, we can probably reduce that a little bit, and that would fall down into the tanks right now. So I'm almost thinking to push that into support equipment. So let's drag that up for a second. And currently we're making 32 a day. That is probably a bit excessive. So we can get that. Let's make it down to 7 for now. That gets 3 additional factories into support equipment. We can probably, 23 a day is still a lot. Let's bring it down to 5. 16 a day, I think, should be enough with the current attrition per month of just about 60. So we should still have a good amount of trucks, but it can go down in priority pretty far because that should do it. And that freed up some additional factories for support equipment. And we are beginning to build more 57mm anti-tank rifles as well, anti-tank guns, and we can speed that up by boring out some of the older ones and fitting new barrels onto them, and because our anti-tank divisions are in need of these. All right, next up, we've probably got a few generals that can get their traits. He can get the guerrilla fighter. I'm not particularly keen on 50% entrenchment speed. What's our max entrenchment at this point? Where was I? Was that Shatilov? That was just looking at? Yeah, Shatilov. Shatilov is on the 9th Army, and we currently have a max entrenchment of 23%, which isn't that grand. So there's usually a better trade around. So if he was to get the infantry leader, I'd like to have the trade point for infantry expert. But he's quite far from that. Other than that, he actually has the combined arms expert. Does he have any terrain traits? No. We might use it simply to allow the 9th to dig in faster. Because he can't do the improv expert for makeshift bridges. This is a really good one actually for an assault division, but he would need a terrain trait for that, so we can't really do an awful lot there. And he is still quite far away from the infantry leader trait, so we'll give him guerrilla fighter for now. Who else do we have? We've got the 8th Army, Drozdowski. Skirmisher not really. Yeah, we don't lose the entrenchment bonus when attacking. That's actually super useful. But paratroops I don't really need. Skirmisher, but kind of not useful right now because we are. But generally would not be a bad one to have. And because it would allow us to remain entrenched, which means if we're aborting the attack, basically it means if we're aborting the attack, then we are not losing the entrenchment bonus, and we're still entrenched. So it's much harder to push us back, basically. Yeah, we may as well. We don't really need it right now, but it's something to give. And we've got General Wojciechowski of the 10th Army, Foreign Forces, and he has. You can have the infantry expert, yes, please. Although ambusher would, given that these are going to be mostly defensive, actually, ambusher is probably better almost. But he's got a 10% entrenchment. That's not gonna. Is not going to do an awful lot because I don't know if these are taking their own. That's probably due to division templates. These are probably not having. So 18% from the somewhat better divisions. Now I'll take infantry experts just for the 10% attack. It's the easier choice here. All right, so we've got that assigned. Do we have anything on the naval side? I just got a bit command power left, so I figured we'd do that. We've got Admiral Kolchak of the Black Sea Fleet. He's got a few things, but the Black Sea Fleet's currently not really active. We've got Admiral Stark of the Atlantic Fleet, which is leading the submarine operations. So that would be my preferred way. We've got already the concealment expert. We could spotting might not be bad. Just to give, I think this would give the submarines additional. He's got 2 traits available, so yeah, we give him extra spotting, and. We could get the hunter killer for additional, but that's I think a destroyer. Is that a destroyer trait? I'm not entirely certain. The lancer would definitely make would make some sense for, but he doesn't have the sea wolf unfortunately yet. But we will leave the other one open. So I think now we've done enough. Upgrading the generals and admirals. I am eventually considering a naval action in the Baltic. Cheers 3 cheers in the comment section, please. But we do have to get through the Vitebsk class first. We do have a bit of Navy experience left over, so I think I have tried to push some research into the naval side of things, but we don't really have what would be good would be these ones, because these don't require any upgrades, whereas everything else here would eventually need refits. Haven't done anything on the armor side, so we've still got the we've still got the basic armor schemes. So if we look at what would be interesting on the naval side, would obviously be if we are to start challenging the Baltic. We've laid a good amount of mines, but there's really not much activity in the Baltic. But I think now with the addition of the Egyptian ships, have they already been added? There were a couple of Egyptian ships, I think. It's these ones now. So they can be added they can be added here, and then we're actually having a reasonably sized task force here for a beginning. The 3 submarines obviously can join the submarine operations. We'll add them. Can they mine lay? What are these submarines looking like? They cannot mine lay. So in that case, they go out to the Atlantic. So we got 3 Weltkrieg submarines going over into the Atlantic, and for that I might actually have to open. I'm going to set it to avoid. That should let the warships through, but still stop trade flowing through there. So with that, we have a reasonable amount of shipping. Now the problem is that we've got 4 battleships. We've got the General Alexeyev, which is an Ismail class, and this thing, it's not terrible, but the armor is not particularly great. And we actually don't have an MIO assigned, but then again, we don't actually have any bonuses from the MIOs here. So we could upgrade a few things, but it would basically just be the AA, because we haven't also not researched additional fire control. Plus, these things make a maximum speed of 22 knots, which is terrifyingly bad. So the Ismails are not great. We've got the Sevastopol class, which is, for all intents and purposes, I think pretty similar. Let's see what the difference is between that and the Ismails. The Ismails have better secondaries and are much slightly. Oh yeah, these things actually have really old engines, so they're even slower. They only do 20 knots. Other than that, heavy firepower is the same, but the secondary firepower is relatively poor. So. The question is, what are we actually facing in the Baltic Sea? And unfortunately, we don't really know that. Most likely the Swedish. And the Swedish Navy has a few heavy cruisers, but mostly destroyers. So the battleships don't really matter all that much. It's more a question of the screening forces, at least against the Swedish ships. The battleships would be good at taking care of the heavy cruisers. And they could probably do that. But we've got 2 of the Admiral Ushakovs in here. Unfortunately, they're pretty much untrained, and I can't really go out and train at this point. We'll wait until the Egyptians are there, and then we might actually head out and do some training on them. While the rest is, we've still got 5 ships detached on refits. But we could see if we could maybe begin challenging the Baltic here, because I don't know what the German Navy, the Kaiserliche Marine, is looking like. Between 8 and 14 battleships, a very low number of destroyers actually, a few heavy cruisers, a good amount of light cruisers, and a very low number of submarines. So in fact, they are not actually looking that good. We don't actually know what the British have. Except for the total, we know that they have almost double the total number of the Hochseeflotte. The French obviously have no longer any say in this matter, and the Italians have an awful lot, and neither do the Spanish. But the British appear to have won the naval battles, so I think we may actually be in a position where we can begin naval operations. Now we don't actually have any Marines, because the Marine template is, to be completely honest, not useful. So we would need a fair amount of army experience, plus we would actually need to train up some Marines in order to do any Marine actions. But we can begin slowly. once the refits are through, we'll send the Baltic Fleet out on training with the new Egyptian ships, and we can see if we can do we can do a bit of refits still on the old battle wagons and see if we get anywhere with that. But mostly, I want to get the new gun cruisers trained up, because these things are going to be essential against enemy light forces. All right, last thing before we can get back into the action. Well, it's been, what? How long have I been talking? Half an hour? What do we got? Laz, what are we using that for? I have completely forgotten. Where is it used? It's not that one. Oh, for trucks. Okay, so we're using that for trucks. Right, that's the truck one. So we don't really need anything. What else do we have here? We've got a free military factory out of that. But these are not available. So we've got a we can put additional hardness in here. That'd actually be quite interesting. That would be upgrading the hardness of trucks. So for the currently my heavy tank divisions, where are they? Are actually using regular infantry, which means that their hardness is actually at 65%. Now I don't have mechanized around, because we don't have the factories for it. This would be for rocket artillery, which we don't have at this point. So I'm thinking of potentially adding the hardness here and then adding trucks to the heavy tank template. We don't need them for the speed, but it would improve the hardness in general quite significantly. Yeah, let's do that. And obviously we would have to update the truck template, which we have to do anyway at some point, but we'll get to that. We have the doctrine available. That'd be air probably, yes. We do have to do the special forces doctrine tree as well. So it might still make sense to get a theorist, but I think first we'd need someone else for the military high command. Anyway, what was I doing? Air doctrine, what can we get? That is strat bombing, which we're not doing. That's ground support, which we're not doing right now either. And that's naval mission efficiency, which we're not doing either. So this is going to be strat bombing, and this is going to be interception. So none of these, actually, we don't really need to spend any air XP at this point, because none of these actually make any sense for the current mission. What are we using? We've got the veteran air instructors. Might actually, this is experience loss reduction, because we're fighting under strength. We might centralized control might be a useful one to switch to eventually, but the other one is currently it's the aircrew surveys, which is the doctrine cost reduction. That would be training experience gain. That's intelligence. That's research. That's advisor. And that is design cost for dive bombing. So we can switch things around. For example, if we're doing something heavier on research on the air, we could do industry liaisons to get that improved. Okay, last, I promise. Experimental facilities. We have a prototype event on the Project Transporter super heavy railway gun. We've improved our progress. Okay, refined expertise. Project iteration is complete. Well done. So things are progressing, but right now the order of the day is to hold the line and see where we can have eventual opportunities for counterattacks. But for now, we're just working our way through the assaults here, which means I'm just going to take a look and make sure that everybody goes where they are needed. These divisions are actually 8th Army divisions. They weren't actually supposed to be here. Okay, so that makes more sense. And with that, everything is sorting. Why are we? Oh no, we've just got one division moving out. That looks all right. So everyone's still moving around, unfortunately, which means I probably need to leave one more here. So everyone's still moving about to stabilize the front lines here, and as long as I've got enough divisions, they've got 7 divisions here. Yeah, that's gonna be excessively hard to crack. So as long as the front lines remain, and Guderian has pulled the tank divisions off. Where are they going? They are going exactly where I was afraid they would go. Actually, no, it's slightly south of where I was afraid they would go. So it looks like they'll attempt to break this, to push us back on this sector here. Now we do have a position here in Polesia which we might fall back from. It's simply because that is attackable from so many directions. It's relatively hard to hold that, and it binds a lot of infantry here. We could fall back from there if the armored assaults begin. But I'm going to keep a very close eye and see where the Guderian's tanks are moving. It looks like they are moving further south still. All right. So for now, if they're gonna try assaults here, that would be unfortunate as well. So right now it's really just a matter of getting through the fortification product. So the more they dally and moving divisions around and trying to sort things out, the less the more time we get to complete the fortification projects along the lines here, and the harder it's going to be for them to break through. It could be that they're going to strike, or they're going for Odessa. Yeah, they're going for Odessa. Now that means we need additional divisions here. That is going to be, if the tanks are going to start, yeah, I don't think they'll get. I mean, these tanks aren't particularly great, but if Guderian's tanks arrive in force here, I don't think we'll be able to hold Odessa. So we will have to once again rapidly relocate the 12th Army. So Kappel's 12th Army are going to be relocated to the southern flank to hold or to reinforce Odessa for now. So obviously these rearrangements are not doing us any favors. And small anti-government protests have sprung up in various cities, demanding an end to the militarization of Russia and the government to consider peace. These protests might be connected to German funding. Okay, so the Germans are causing us trouble and are actually reducing our war support, which is giving us problems with stability as well now. Plus, we've got the left-wing anger. The left wing is currently at Wary. That is irritating. And if we run a press censorship campaign, it would further reduce the democracy. So we might have to we might have to start going into the where was it? I think it was self-defense of democracy that gets us into stable democracy, because right now we have where would it be? We've got the strengthening democracy, but we don't have stable democracy. So I think that's, given that we've done most of the important stuff right now, I think the next part is going to be, what do we need for self-defense? We need the democratic curriculum. We don't need a judicial reform for that, actually. But it would set Nabokov as a political advisor. That is unfortunate because he would replace somebody. So I don't know who that would replace. So maybe we'll just do the democratic curriculum, which is going to piss off the right wing, and then switch to and then go into the self-defense of democracy, which is eventually going to get us to stable democracy, and then hopefully allows us to deal with this German subversion that we're dealing with here. All right, but first of all, I need to keep a very keen eye on where Guderian is deploying his tanks to. If the... Okay, all of these need to please take the railway, because otherwise you're not going to make it there. And we've got this one and this one as well. You're not going to make it there if the before Guderian's tanks have crossed the river. But this should be hopefully reasonably well to defend. But yeah, we definitely need to strengthen this line. There's a lot of troops. There's a lot of troops crashing into us now. Right now, it's just probing attacks. But if Guderian's armored spearhead shows up there, I don't know where they went right now. We don't have visibility on them. But if they show up, then we are in. This line here is going to be in trouble, because while these are guards divisions, they will struggle to hold potentially. They do have the river defense, but yeah, Odessa is coming under pressure already. Anyway, message from Armenia. Diplomatic status. Cancel the non-aggression pact. What? Armenia. They are not part of the Moscow Accord. So if they so desire... Armenia goes their own way. They're running their own faction, and they're not particularly friendly. So we will see how that goes. But more importantly, the big artillery triplex is complete, which means we now have the super heavy artillery, which I think is a support company, and the 04, which I have no idea what that is. It says it's equipment. Equipment on what? Is it a... It looks like a self-propelled artillery. So we'll investigate that together, because I actually don't know how this works. All right. So from what I can gather, it's literally the 203 millimeter howitzer, 1931, super heavy howitzer. This thing is incredibly expensive. That is costing more than 10 times the regular artillery, but it is not available for lines, so this is only for support. Now, from the values, it's got lower defense, it's got better breakthrough, it's got somewhat better soft attack and better hard attack, but nothing that would really. It is a self-propelled machine, but it doesn't add any. It doesn't add any armor or hardness as an actual line battalion of self-propelled artillery would. The only thing that I can really see is the extra collateral damage. Now, I'm not entirely certain how that even works, because I'm assuming it's destruction of roads and other things. But let me have a quick look how. I don't think I've ever seen collateral damage in Hearts of Iron. So let me have a quick look on how that works. Right, so little information out there, but apparently what it does is damage to infrastructure and potentially fortifications as well. So this would actually be well suited for the storm divisions, because that would grind down the fortifications rather quickly. So we could add that it's only available as a support company, not as a line battalion. So we could add that as a replacement for the artillery support. The problem, or the unfortunate part on that, and I don't know if that's an oversight. So the support artillery gives 20% for attack bonus against fortifications. That thing does the same. Okay, it didn't show earlier when I did this. So it has the same attack bonus, but it does a significant additional damage against things on the ground when attacking, which is pretty much what I want. So that would be great for the specialized divisions that we need for the assault on Riga, which means despite the fact that we have no factories, I am going to start line that up for production, but it is with that cost, we are going to probably need about this works like railway guns. I see. Where are the railway guns? Okay, and I can get down here as well. So we have that organized. So this works like railway guns, by the looks of it. So how many do I actually need in order to fill to fill a... That might make the price more reasonable. So this this needs 12 artillery. So if I put in 1 super heavy, that needs three only, 3 super heavy howitzers. Okay, it's still expensive, but it sounds more doable. Okay, so this is basically the mobile equivalent of a railway gun that can be attached to a division. And these 203 millimeter, these existed, by the way, at least on the Soviet period, as far as I remember. I've seen one in the Armor and Artillery Museum in Queensland, in Australia. It's quite impressive. So 200 millimeter howitzer, massive gun. So we will get those into production, and it's going to take. It's going to take a while until these get ready. So we do need to eventually get this ready. We might actually prioritize these over the armored trains and tanks here, just so they can get so we can get these started. Because I only need a relatively limited number of them. So and I can't assign more than 5 factories. So I better get started to build up. And we can't actually assign any MIOs to this either, which is quite irritating. So we don't get any bonuses from that. War in the Atlantic. Well, now that I've seen how many destroyers Germany has lost, I'm not surprised that we are actually doing reasonably well in the Atlantic in sinking enemy shipping. And that is going to hurt. That is going to hurt the Reichspakt. And potentially, I'm not sure if we're actually going to be sinking Entente ships, to be fair. Because technically, they're not part of the Russian-German war. So that might be why Portugal actually gets through here. International politics always complicated. All right, I might give the where are my mountain divisions right now? Okay, I might actually get these redeployed here for now as well, because I was going to bring the 5th Army there, but I think right now we need to reinforce Odessa. Okay, reinforcements on the way. I am going to redeploy, or trying to redeploy some more troops here, but I think the whole line is coming under attack relatively quickly now. So we are waiting for additional troops to come in, and we're also bringing the foreign divisions in here. They were supposed to reinforce this line, but I think we will be able to hold this because they do have to cross the rivers. So I think the lines will hold unless Guderian's tanks show up. And I don't know where they are gone. I don't see them along the front lines. These tanks, they seem to have pulled them off the lines for now after they haven't managed to break through in the north. And like I said, that gives us time on the defense. However, it also gives Germany time. It gives Germany time to... Oh, no, there they are. Okay. So Guderian's tanks are crashing into Odessa now, which is going to be a problem because I don't have the... Okay, these definitely need to... that's because they're going through the line directly. Okay, I need all of these divisions to take the railway and move here. Okay, these two actually can stay. Why am I having so many here? I need them south. So get over towards Odessa. Odessa is going to be trouble. So we're going to get these divisions helping out in Odessa because that's where the tank divisions are crashing in right now. So let's bring in no tank forces in the north here. It looks like the assault is concentrating here. So let's get the 12th Army concentrated in the southern sector. And but we are getting relatively heavy infantry attacks here as well. Across the whole front line. Yeah, they've just launched assaults across the whole line. So that means we are... this position might become untenable, but that's fine. We've always considered that we might need to fall back from here into fortified positions in the rear, where we are still making our way through the fortification works. But critical right now is Odessa, especially that, that's where Guderian's tanks are attacking now. So the anti-tank forces, despite the fact that they've just come off the trains, need to make their way onto the lines. We're getting. Do we have no anti-tank forces in the here? Okay, we are getting some. So we are getting no, not all of you. You stay. From these, I need 2 to go here. The other 2 to proceed there. Okay. Yeah, the heavy tank attacks across the line here are going to cause us trouble. We've got the government cipher school done, so I think what do we get? Operative capture chance. Yeah, interrogation techniques is a good one. But yeah, we're getting panzer attacks here now as well. We're definitely going to need, these are pure infantry assaults, but we're going to need the anti-tank divisions along the line here. So this is one of the major problems that we're having. And fortunately, they don't have air support. But they are they're starting to focus more on Belarus now. Which is really putting a dent into our fighter wings. I might have to. How are we trading? 1 to 3, but the Germans can sustain that. We cannot. How are we doing on fighters? We're still 200 fighters short, but we're still keeping up with production, I believe. The problem, obviously, being that the Germans can field more. And produce more than we can, but we do have the better air detection and mission efficiency. So I think that's mainly why we can maintain this ratio. I'm gonna keep this up for now, but this is rapidly becoming an issue, and we definitely do have to hold Odessa. So that is becoming critical. I am actually. Yeah, Odessa is critical. I'm actually going to divert another division towards Odessa here, just to make sure we have enough troops on the line to hold that. And that's the problem, because the German tank divisions are so much faster than ours that we have another ace pilot, which is great. They're so much faster than our divisions that by the time the anti-tank divisions get into place and can actually start engaging the Germans, we don't really know, and this is starting to look a little dire here in the north. We are starting. We're going to send that here. We're not in any way ready to defend by the time they get there, and they are fully ready to commit. Okay, the Indian Federation would like to send us equipment. Yes, please do so, because we need equipment. Still sinking convoys in the Atlantic successfully. I'm just keeping an eye out if we see any operations there. But yeah, right now the biggest we don't have. Hang on, we don't have any. We do have the close air support wings. I'm going to bring them closer so they can actually join on our side. That might help a little bit. But this is starting to look critical, so I may have to redeploy the light tank divisions. We're going to get them. Positioned here for a potential counterattack. So let's get them already redeployed. This one as well. So please redeploy south, while we are sending desperate amounts of reinforcements into the lines here to try and hold off the furious German attacks across the whole front line. And I think if they break Odessa, we don't have much. We would have to fall back to Mykolaiv, unfortunately, which would fracture the front lines quite a bit. So I would prefer not having to do that. Where are my mountain divisions? They're going to take forever. They need to rapid redeploy here and then make their way onto the front lines. Otherwise, they are going to come in too late. So, the Commune France has capitulated. Germany has apparently held their promise. and the French Republic, and has handed the French Republic over to the Entente. So with that, the Entente has regained a lot of foothold in Europe. The problem, obviously, being that the German troops that were previously engaged here might actually now start moving east and crash into our lines. And we're already seeing that we do not have enough divisions to and not enough fortifications here. These are too lightly fortified. So we do need to get these lines up to speed as well. In fact, I think I'm gonna try and maximize the fortifications along the whole line now, simply because of the threat of additional German divisions. So the industry is going to concentrate, and that they're trying to break out from Riga as well. The industry is going to concentrate on fortifications now, and reprioritize construction towards the southern front, where and Odessa, I'm going to put that on top, where we are. Where's Odessa? Yeah, Odessa needs to take first priority, try to get some fortifications going, otherwise this is going to get really hard to hold. But we're rapidly redeploying Stefan's 6th Army for a potential counterattack to retake the fortifications. That's the mobile reserve. They were meant to reconstitute, but they are obviously struggling to do so because of the constant demands of military action. So how does that affect the supply situation? It's not great, but I think Mykolaiv supply-wise can. Yeah, Vinnytsia is overloaded now supply. Which also means that we are going to have to upgrade the Vinnytsia bottlenecks potentially if they're starting to run additional, and the Odessa bottlenecks as well, supply-wise. So additional railways need to be constructed, but not now. Right now, unless the Vinnytsia ones can be done relatively quickly, but I don't think so. This is going to all take quite a while to rebuild that. So for now, we are desperately trying to hold the line here, and redeploying infantry wherever possible. We're getting the tanks ready. Who's running an attack here? Okay, this would be very eager Afghani troops. So Guderian has redeployed his tanks. Guderian and von Manstein, both of them, have redeployed their tank divisions towards Odessa, and they're probing that sector next. That doesn't mean that the rest of the front lines is out of trouble, because we are getting attacked across the whole front at this point. So strengthening our fortifications, digging in, and trying to rebuild our equipment situation is becoming critical as well. We are losing the air war of attrition over Belarus, I believe. We're trading well, 2-1, but it's not enough really. The problem is that that's only one air fleet. That's only part of the German air fleet. They have reserves, we do not. So at some point this is going to become critical. So for now, we have to desperately try to hold Odessa, and we're getting additional troops incoming now. So the mountain divisions have come in, and once they have regained a little bit of their organization, then they will be redeployed towards the front lines. And I think we've just about managed to hold by rapidly redeploying troops here. The problem is that the Germans can easily redeploy elsewhere. Are we still getting 17th Panzer Division? Where's the rest of them? We've got the 2nd Panzer. This 2nd Panzer. This is not from Austria. Yeah, it looks like they might have seen our redeployment, and they're already moving again. So that's kind of the strategic situation at the moment. We'll have to move, and oh, this is starting to look bad as well. What are we being attacked here by? This is just regular infantry. We can divert. So we've got a fair few divisions here. We have to divert some divisions to hold the line here. That is literally just regular infantry hammering into our lines here. So we'll send some additional infantry in, but yeah, getting the front lines stabilized against the relentless assault from the Reichspakt is essential. The air war is not going in our favor, and the Indians want to send us expeditionary forces. One division, I'll take it. And that division can join the Foreign Legion here of the 10th Army. Generally, and we are starting to see logistic strikes over the Baltic states. Yes, we may actually, now that they're focusing their bomber force in the north, have to redeploy our air wings there. So let's do that. And that means, unfortunately, that we're giving up a lot of the mission efficiency that we've built up here, but they're now starting to destroy the supply lines towards the front, trying to break out from Riga, which is going to be a massive problem going forward, because also the bombing is going to undermine the morale of the Russian people, who, together with German subversion, already are who are already struggling to, seeing certain kinds of unrest. Let me put it that way at times. Now the big question is going to be, where is Guderian redeploying? And the rapid movement of the tank forces really makes it very difficult for us to defend with the anti-tank divisions. Last thing we're going to check today. Sorry, it's been a bit of a slower episode. These have a 41 piercing and 83 hard attack. How about the light tanks? Would they work on the defense? No, they don't have enough piercing. Hard attack be okay, but the light tanks just can't penetrate. So they're doing probing attacks across the line, trying to find places to break through, while the air the air war is going on. So we'll have to keep remaining mobile in desperate attempts at attacking, putting operational reserves towards the front lines wherever possible, in desperate attempts at pushing back the enemy assaults. And I might actually need a few mobile divisions, given that they seem to have moved out from here. I might have to split them a bit, so we'll put a few mobile divisions here, just to have a bit more, just to have operational reserves for counterattacks against infantry. Because if they start breaking through the lines here, then that is going to be a trouble. We've got level 2 forts, but it's not great. So industry for the foreseeable future of 1941 is going to be defending the lines and trying to stem the tide. But we'll see what the restoration of the French Republic will make, or if that will make a difference. Britain so far still stands, and I'm not sure what they have in terms of naval forces. Not an awful lot. So I don't think Britain will be easily challenged, which means that a naval invasion of Great Britain is probably unlikely. And we will see. I'm surprised that Germany held their part of the bargain, but seeing that the United States have now joined the Entente to restore balance in Europe, things might turn out a little different. So they've given up a fair amount of occupied territory that would have significantly improved their industry. That said, the United States of Greater Austria are now in possession of most of the Balkans, which actually means, we got another ace pilot, Can I invite Greece? I cannot invite Greece because I have a non-aggression pact with the Ottomans. That would be why. So no, we can't open a Greek front, unfortunately, because the Greeks don't like the Ottomans, and since we have a non-aggression pact with the Ottoman Empire, which I also need because I don't want them to start building the old Central Powers back up and then having to deal with an incursion in the south here. So that's at this point more important. All right. So defense is the name of the game, and moving divisions around is what we do.